everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions. I recall, I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions. I recall, I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, but now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions. I recall, I really don't know life at all. I've looked at life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's life's illusions. I recall, I really don't know life at all.
Welcome to Lake Chapala Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Ted Fahy, and I'm today's service associate for this growing, journeying community. And Reverend Matt Alspaugh will be presenting our message this afternoon. We welcome all of you to our service, especially those of you who are searching for a spiritual home. May our time together bless us with gifts of inspiration, comfort, and renewal. Our opening words this afternoon are by Lindsay Bates. Come, let us worship together. Let us open our minds to the challenge of reason. Open our hearts to the healing of love. Open our lives to the calling of conscience. Open our souls to the comfort of joy. Astonished by the miracle of life, grateful for the gift of fellowship, confident in the power of living faith, we are here gathered. Come, let us worship together. If you're new and would like to receive our newsletter and other emails, please talk to a member of the Welcome Team or write to us at info@lcuuf.org. Would the members of the Welcome Team please stand up? Thank you. And now a special welcome to our visitors. If you're visiting with us for the first time, or have returned or reconnected with us after a long absence, we invite you to say your name and tell us where you're from. And if you're on Zoom, please introduce yourself in the chat box and we'll read it aloud in the fellowship. We'll start with the people in the room. Do we have any visitors on Zoom? Anyone in the room? New? No? Nobody? Pam, do we have any visitors on Zoom this afternoon?
Un momento. No, we have, oh, wait a minute. I think Mike Blanco coming through fine now. Thanks for bringing us this service every week.
Okay. Welcome to all our visitors, even though we don't have any today, and to newcomers, both in person and on Zoom. Here at LCUUF, we offer a wide variety of services on various topics presented by our members, outside guests, as well as our minister, Matt. We hope you'll return to sample this variety of thought and belief. Our chalice lighting words today are by Suzelle Lynch. The flame we kindle in the chalice of faith holds blessings of warmth and light and life-giving energy. It shines forth a beacon to guide us all home. It lights up our longings to connect and to share. It possesses the power to shape a world where equity and compassion reign supreme. May this warmth and light and life-giving energy celebrate the blessings we have claimed and help us extend them in hands and hearts that offer these blessings to all. Now, having lit our chalice, let us sing these words together.
We kindle this light in celebration for the life that we share.
Hold on, we're going to change electronics. This thing is awful. Okay. Good. So this is the time in our service where we can briefly share our personal joys, sorrows, and our milestones, because there is power in the sharing as we hold each other in community. Just a sentence or two is enough. We'll start with the folks in the room to give those on Zoom a chance to type joys and sorrows into the chat to be read out loud in the fellowship. So as the mic is passed, please share your sorrows, whatever you may be holding that is in need of our healing and caring thoughts, and or your joys, whatever you may be celebrating, whatever evokes within you a feeling of joy, peace, or gladness. Are there any joys or sorrows that people would like to share here in the room?
My name is Heidi McLennan, and I spoke with Helen White. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. I spoke with Helen White the other day on the telephone, and she has high hopes that she will be returning to spend time with Bill. She's been absent in a nursing home now for quite a few months, and they're looking forward to a reunion very soon.
My name is Adele, and I would like to share a joy that Judd Dolphin had hip surgery this past week and is healing very finely.
Can I go through one more time? We have a special guest here who's always here. Arturo, would you like to stand? A few days ago was his birthday, and he reminded me today of his birthday. So can we all sing a round of applause or a round of happy birthday in English? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Arturo. Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Other joys or sorrows in the room? Lorna?
I'm Lorna Dean, and I'd like to remember Al Castleman, our former treasurer, who passed away this week.
Hi, I'm Flo Rhodes, and I have those bittersweet memories as well. I've known Al and Jane for a long, long time, 20-plus years. And he's peaceful now. He's in peace. He's resting. And Jane is with us. And we also have a friend, a mutual friend, who had a stroke the same day as Al passed. And that was a shock. It's kind of like you have to really dig deep for joys, dig deep. It took a piece of my core and made it quiver and go, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but words can't describe. I feel fragile, obviously. When things like that happen, I think we all.
Let's see. Can you all hear this one? Yes. Who's next?
I'm Richard Clark, and I'm very happy. Today I started a new YouTube series based on a book written 1,500 years ago by Adi Shankara on non-duality, and the book is entitled Self-Knowledge, and I'll be doing this every day for the next couple of months.
Other joys and sorrows.
Hi, Priscilla here. I just want to add my condolences for Jane and her family on the passing of Al. And then, as the world goes on, our indomitable Paula has had her shoulder successfully repaired and is apparently recovering nicely with the assistance of her husband, Paul.
I just may take another minute. I wasn't going to say anything, but my closest friend had some very bad news a week ago. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed, along with her entire family, that everything will be well for her. We'll know more at the end of this week, I hope. My compassion, my love for this family is more than I can tell you, so this is a real heartbreak.
Anyone else? Are there any joys and sorrows on Zoom this afternoon?
Yes, from Colleen Beery. She has a concern. Colleen will have surgery on Tuesday to remove the port from chemo and part of her thyroid, which has numerous nodules. All good juju is appreciated for a good outcome. And that's it, yeah. Oh, there's a joy. Oh, her joy. Thank you, Jesus. Gracias. My Aunt Virginia, 98 years of age, fell and broke her hip yesterday. Surgery this morning was successful, and prayers for her quick recovery. Now that's it.
And this candle from our care team we light to represent the joys and sorrows spoken and witnessed today, as well as those we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. Let us share a moment of silence. Our one hymn today is Spirit of Life. It is familiar to many of you, and the words are in your program, so please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla al volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Aréngame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Our reading this morning is Miracle Fair by Wisława Szymborska. The commonplace miracle that so many common miracles take place. The usual miracles, invisible dogs barking in the dead of night. One of many miracles, a small and airy cloud is able to upstage the massive moon. Several miracles in one. An alder is reflected in the water and is reversed from left to right and grows from crown to root and never hits bottom, though the water isn't deep. A run-of-the-mill miracle, winds mild to moderate, turning gusty in storms. A miracle in the first place, cows will be cows. Next, but not least, just this cherry orchard from just this cherry pit. A miracle minus top hat and tails, fluttering white doves. A miracle, what else can you call it? The sun rose today at 3:14 a.m. and will set tonight at 8:01. A miracle that's lost on us. The hand actually has fewer than 6 fingers, but it's still got more than 4. A miracle, just look around, the inescapable earth. An extra miracle, extra and ordinary,
the unthinkable can be thought. So this reading is from a blog post by Ozan Varol, which he titled, "Don't Count Your Blessings, Do This Instead." In his posting, he describes a research study on gratitude and how he applied its results to his own life. So this is all a quote. The researchers in that study applied a contrarian approach to gratitude. Instead of asking participants to reflect on the presence of a positive event, "I'm grateful I met my wife," they asked participants to reflect on its absence. "What if I had never met my wife?" In other words, they asked participants to undo positive events and picture a counterfactual world where that positive event had never happened. The results were striking. People who compared themselves to an alternative, worse-off version of their current self reported more positive states. I tried to create this experience in my own life. For example, instead of expressing gratitude for my wife, I thought about all the ways we might have never met. If I hadn't been assigned to a particular floor in a particular dorm in college, I wouldn't have met my college best friend, Joe. And if I hadn't met Joe, his wife wouldn't have bought him a round-trip ticket as a birthday present to visit me in Chicago in 2011. And if Joe hasn't visited me, we wouldn't have gone to see an absolutely awful 90s cover band at a bar called Castaways. And if I hadn't gone to Castaways, I wouldn't have bumped into the woman whom I would later marry. I next thought about all the ways that my life would be dramatically worse if I hadn't met my wife. The joys, the laughter, the companionship, the adventures I would have been denied. And this exercise made me realize in a far more powerful way than before how fortunate I am that life unfolded as it did.
Good afternoon again. So today, as I mentioned earlier, and maybe it got switched off. Maybe the battery died on this too. You can hear me. Okay. So today, as I mentioned earlier, we weren't sure where we would be meeting today, inside or outside. We weren't sure whether we would be able to use images or videos, what music we could do. We weren't going to haul a piano outside, or even whether we would be able to offer a Zoom connection. So for today, I returned to a sermon I gave many years ago before we used all this tech and updated it. So let me take you back. This is a bit of a throwback to 2013 with a question. What is it that defines us as a Unitarian Universalist movement? Are we an intellectual discussion club, as some would call us? Is this just a godless hangout of radical social activists and protesters? Or is it true that we are simply about excellent coffee, the caffeine sacrament? What actually is it at the heart of our faith? A few years ago, Reverend Galen Guengerich of All Souls Church in New York City wrote an article for the UU World magazine called "The Heart of Our Faith." And in trying to find the heart of our faith, he quickly moved past belief, especially that canard that UUs can believe anything they want. He suggests that UUs don't come, that people don't come to Unitarian Universalism just because they are escaping abhorrent beliefs elsewhere. As he puts it, and I quote, "People don't go to Carnegie Hall because of what they don't want to hear." So Guengerich goes off searching for the positive, affirming heart of Unitarian Universalism. Guengerich starts by looking at other faiths. What are the core principles or the central disciplines at the heart of other faiths? He says, again I quote, "Unless our faith is mere intellectual affectation, however, the defining element of our faith must be a daily practice of some kind." What kind of practice? For Jews, the defining practice is obedience. To be a faithful Jew is to obey the commands of God. For Christians, the defining discipline is love. To be a faithful Christian is to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. For Muslims, the defining principle is submission. To be a faithful Muslim is to submit to the will of Allah. So he goes on, acknowledging that while all of these are fine disciplines, they are not ours. He continues, "My current conviction is that our defining discipline should be gratitude. In the same way that Judaism is defined by obedience, Christianity by love, and Islam by submission, I believe that Unitarian Universalism should be defined by gratitude." According to Guengerich, we are the gratitude people. That's what our bumper sticker ought to read, he tells us. But for me, Matt, the first challenge, the first question is to define gratitude. Not a dictionary definition, but it's a feeling. I know what it feels like. But looking it up in the dictionary, well, it's a bit like looking up the definition of the word, of the color blue. Or it's a bit like that Supreme Court justice that said, you know it when you see it. I think he was talking about pornography. Same thing. Or maybe you know it when you don't see it. So there's a story, I'm told, that comes from Garrison Keillor's radio program. A grandmother is walking with her 5-year-old grandson along the beach when all of a sudden a rogue wave comes up and grabs the child and pulls him off to sea. She looks up at the sky, shakes her fist, and shouts, "God, this is unacceptable, unbearable. You cannot just take away an innocent child." And just as she says those words, another wave comes and deposits the child right in front of her. She picks up the child, looks up at the sky, and shouts, "This child had a hat." So gratitude is kind of related to awe, that sense that we are very small and insignificant compared to the forces at the shore, the manifestations that are much larger than us. Now, awe has been described as overwhelming and bewildering sense of connection with a startling universe that is usually far beyond the narrow band of our consciousness. Now, I find it interesting that many of the great religious traditions dwell on awe and fear. Consider the ancient Hindu text, the Katha Upanishad. In it, the god Brahman is described this way. The cosmos comes forth from Brahman and moves in him. With its power, it reverberates like thunder crashing in the sky. In fear of him, fire burns. In fear of him, the sun shines, the clouds rain, and the winds blow. In fear of him, death stalks about to kill. Or consider Psalm 33 from the Hebrew Bible, part of which reads, "Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke, and it all came to be. He commanded, and it stood firm." So how do we respond to awe, to all this awfulness? How do we live with the reality that we are surrounded by powerful and perhaps indifferent forces of nature that could stalk about to kill us at any time? How do we respond to fear? How do we live with this reality that there are forces, both human and non-human and inhuman, that could harm us at a moment's notice? I mean, the list from recent days: illegal abduction and confinement of visitors to the USA, government-sanctioned violence in Gaza, climate change and its deniers, new outbreaks of measles and other contagious diseases worldwide. How do we respond to this emotionally? How do we keep our balance? This is just not wanting to stay in its place. We are certainly small and insignificant beings in this huge universe, utterly dependent on the health of this planet, dependent on good relationships with other people around us, dependent in some degree really on the luck of the draw. The first lesson of the universe is that we are not in control. But the second lesson is that we are not completely vulnerable either. Rather, our control, our influence operates in relation to other people and other things in the world. Gratitude emerges from the intersection of these realization that we are not in control and that parallel realization that we are interconnected. And through those relationships, we do have some influence and some sense of purpose. Out of awe, out of love, gratitude wells up. So one reason that gratitude appeals to me as a possible center of our faith is that gratitude, unlike obedience or submission, doesn't have to be directed at anyone or anything. Gratitude gets around the question of whether or not there is a deity or multiple deities to be grateful to or for. Gratitude just is. You see, gratitude is not an intellectual activity or a belief, it is a feeling. Gratitude comes from the heart, not from the head. Gratitude is heartfelt. Now, we Unitarian Universalists, many of us, are oftentimes not so good at dealing with affairs of the heart. We tend to be a little bit more of a heady bunch, and we oftentimes like our sermons to be intellectually stimulating. So for those of us here who need the head stuff, let's turn to the science of gratitude. Now, the study of gratitude is part of the field of positive psychology, that psychology of healthy, thriving persons, families, and communities. What we're learning is that grateful people reap tremendous benefits from their gratitude. They are reported to be, this is by research, happier, less depressed, less stressed, and more satisfied with their lives and social relationships. They reported higher levels of positive states of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, attentiveness, and energy. than other people who did not practice gratefulness. Now, you may think that gratitude is just one of a basket of emotions, and that some people are lucky enough to inherit those emotions. So it shouldn't be any surprise that a grateful person is a happy person. Correlation does not imply causation, you might say. But many of the studies have sought to explore how people who took up gratitude practices changed their other emotions or life aspects. So here's one study that was just, I quote from an article in Sci Blog, a UK magazine. So I quote, Dr. Robert Emmons of the University of California, Davis, carried out a 10-week study with 3 experimental groups. The first group was asked to write down 5 things they were grateful for that had happened in the last week for each of the 10 weeks of the study. Now, this was called the gratitude condition. So the types of things that these people listed included sunset through the clouds, the generosity of friends, the chance to be alive. The second group were asked to write down 5 daily hassles from the previous week. This was called the hassles condition. So the types of things they included were taxes, hard to find parking, burned by macaroni and cheese. And the third group was a control condition. They did nothing. So before the experiment began, participants had kept daily journals to chronicle their moods, their physical health, and their general attitudes. These were then used to provide a comparison to similar journals after the experimental intervention. So what did Dr. Emmons learn? He says, or the article says, people who were in the gratitude condition felt fully 25% happier, they were more optimistic about the future, and they felt better about their lives. And here's this other surprise. They did almost 1.5 hours more physical exercise in a week than those in the hassles or control conditions. So there you have it. Not only does a gratitude practice help you become a happier person, but it helps you build your biceps and tone your glutes. What's not to like? Well, for some folks, such gratitude practices may feel too much like counting your blessings. They may feel a bit contrived, too cheesy, as it were, or to use the Spanish word that I just learned, too corriente. There's an alternative approach, which we heard about a little bit earlier, which was mentioned by Ozan Varol in that reading. Varol noted that the traditional gratitude practices didn't work for him, but he found this recent study that recommended a counterfactual approach to gratitude. In this study, the participants were asked to reflect on what the world would be like if some important positive part were missing. And people who did this reflection reported feeling more positive states. In general, they were happier. And this is what happened with Varol when he thought about life without his wife. And in doing that, he realized how fortunate he was. He concludes his essay by saying, instead of counting your blessings, subtract them. The results will surprise you. So the science tells us that we can develop feelings of gratitude through practice. So what are some possibilities? What might a gratitude practice look like? Well, one effective practice is keeping a gratitude journal in which you write down brief notes, maybe just a sentence or two, maybe just a list about several things you are grateful for. Doing this activity even 1 or 2 days a week may be enough. Now, if you're not the journaling type, you might consider another practice called 3 good things. In your bed, before going to sleep, enumerate 3 good things from the day. Now, sometimes naming 3 good things is not easy, but try it anyway. I've used this practice from time to time, and it's a really nice way to head into the night. You also might consider meditation or prayer. We will have a short gratitude meditation at the end of this sermon. Now, if you're a bit more of a contrarian, you might want to consider reflecting on what your life might be like if a certain cherished aspect were missing. What if things went that way instead of this way? How would my life be worse off as a result? And as you develop a gratitude practice, whatever form works for you, you may realize that things that you're grateful for are oftentimes small and ordinary. That sunset through the clouds, a kind word from a friend, a memory of a good time. You may realize that these small things deserve gratitude too. For the small things give life clarity and depth as well. Wisława Szymborska, the Nobel Prize winning poet, speaks of a feeling of gratitude in that poem, Miracle Fair, that we heard earlier. She lists mundane, ordinary things, calling them what they are. Miracles. That the hand actually has fewer than 6 fingers, but it's still got more than 4, is, as she says, a miracle that's lost on us. The message of the poem is that miracles are not grandiose things, the sun standing still or walking on water, but ordinary, everyday things, the small things, the commonplace miracles. Just this cherry orchard from just this cherry pit, fluttering white doves, and cows will be cows. If we want to experience gratitude, if we want to make it our practice, then dwell on this reality, the commonplace miracle, that so many common miracles take place. If we want to feel gratitude in our very beings, just take it in. A miracle, just take a look around. The inescapable earth, an extra miracle, extra and ordinary. The unthinkable can be thought. May it be so. And so let us find such a miracle or a sense of gratitude. And I'd like to invite you into a time of meditation on gratitude so that we explore these possible commonplace miracles. So I invite you to relax your body and straighten your spine. Find just whatever that comfortable place of, so that you're not having to strain to hold your body up. And then soften or close your eyes, maybe rest your hands in your lap. And then notice the breath. Just breathe. Ordinary breath. You don't have to do anything about it. A miracle in a way, these ordinary breaths. And you might imagine a clear blue sky. As thoughts arise, think of them as clouds in the sky and just let them go, dissipating into the clear blue sky. And you might bring to mind something that you're grateful for. Your life, your health, friends, the natural world. And just sit with that thing that you're grateful for. Notice what feelings come up. Now you may notice negative thoughts come up. Oh, maybe my health is not perfect. Oh, the environment is at risk. But narrow down your focus to gratitude. Yes, but my hands are still strong. And the bushes and trees are blooming with flowers. And sit with those more tangible objects of gratefulness. And notice those feelings. Again, if negative thoughts arise, return to the focus. My hand has 5 fingers. The jacaranda, the primavera, some are still in bloom. And just sit with this tangible gratitude for things however small. It's real. Let's sit for a few more moments for a sense of gratitude for small things. These little things that give our life its intensity and vitality. And now returning to this time and this space to be together with each other once again.
As you know, the work of our fellowship within these walls and beyond takes our time, our treasure, and our talents. And now is the time in our service for our offering. Please know that we give all the money collected at the service to organizations that provide aid and support to our lakeside community. And for May, we will be donating the basket to Poco a Poco San Pedro Itzican. Poco a Poco supports youth and women in the San Pedro and Mezcala areas east of Chapala. They offer assistance through providing food and drinking water to renal patients, feeding over 300 children 5 days a week, and offering health services. They also provide education including literacy and English as a second language classes, as well as teaching local organic food growth. And as we pass the baskets, if you're new here, or if you're struggling to hold things together, please let the basket pass you by. Your presence is more than enough and is a gift to us. We take to heart these words by UU Minister Erica Hewitt. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value, and with our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond the congregation. And may this offering sustain and grow the life and work of the congregation. May we give in love and hope for a better world.
So spend time in gratitude. Make gratitude a practice in your life. Surround yourself with the gratitude people. And this I speak from the experience of my heart. Your life will be filled with peace and joy. Blessed be.
Let us extinguish our chalice with these words, which we will say together and possibly read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts and share with all the world. Here we are. Our worship is over. Our service begins. Go in peace with a purpose and dance out of here.